So I got to start out by saying, Ewan, no joking, completely sincere, you are my favorite actor of all time. So going back to my
Excellent.
days working in a video store, I had copies of Blue Juice on VHS and all the classics.
The
But
classic.
I gotta say that Clara, you may be very closely encroaching on that ranking after seeing this movie. The two of you are phenomenal here. Absolutely loved the movie. And I
Mhm.
gotta ask Clara, for you, do you think that you would have felt as natural working with another actor had they portrayed your father in this?
No, I probably not. No, I think like I hope that I'm a good enough actor to pretend if I had to, but I think that this was just such a gift to be able to actually do it with my dad and definitely allowed I think the two of us to have a lot more room to improvise and to play off of each other and so yeah.
Yeah.
And for you, this is not everybody gets an opportunity to act with their child, especially in a relationship where it's a father and daughter. What was it like for you? Did it feel like different than other projects you've done?
Yeah. I mean, everything's unique anyway, but this was ultra special. Because Clara had come up with the idea, had co-written it, well, wrote it with Ruby Castor, the writer. And so when I was sent the script, I was, Clara told me she was writing a film, loosely about us. And I just was blown away by the script when I read it. I was very touched by it, moved by it. And then watching her as a producer going and then getting the film made, and turning up on set on day one and meeting her in makeup and hair, it's just a funny, it's like, what is going on? This is such a strange situation until the second we got on front of the camera and played the first scene. And then it was totally normal, like a really natural, normal thing to be doing with your daughter. It was just brilliant. And I feel like I just wanted to not have to reach so far for it. I just wanted to play him like me, and I didn't like, so I didn't have anything to reach for. It just was totally, and Clara is so naturalistic an actor that it was just felt very, very natural and easy.
No, I'm good. You go ahead to your culty little group meeting.
And I got to ask Clara, the amount of bathroom breaks in this film, is that something that
Yes,
is that based on reality?
you're the first person to bring this up. I'm so
Yeah.
glad I got a chance to talk about it. Yeah, I think I forget if it was Ruby or if Emma added that in. But that is, that's very much me. I always have to pee and my friends all know it. And so Emma or Ruby, I forget, we're very quick to add. It was
It's
a perfect,
amazing she hasn't gone for pee during this interview of 5 minutes.
it's
Real
shocking.
that is. Yeah.
But it was also a great tool to kind of like cut, break the movie up in a way. And oh my God, yeah, when we were on location out there, it was yeah, art imitated life and life imitated art for sure.
And something I gotta say with movies, any movie, I always, when I'm looking at the film, either just as a viewer, as a reviewer, whatever it might be, there's usually one or two things that stand out as just those hit moments that stick with me. There were five in this film. And
Oh,
I
great.
think that the final scene, that last one where you leave and you're still out there, that has got to be one of the most emotionally perfect scenes that I've seen in a film in recent memory. It's just such a beautiful moment, and the emotion and the depth in this film. Did that feel that way even off camera, or was that a light environment making it behind the scenes?
Yeah, that I remember really. It was just so real, and I just felt so emotional doing it. I don't think we really knew what it was going to feel like till we did it, and I
Yeah.
think we're quite adamant there was some dialogue that we didn't. We just got rid of all the dialogue, and I felt like the moment where we do sort of where he tries to say something and she just says "I know" was like that's all we needed to. That's all we need. It's made me feel emotional now. That's all we needed, that and the I loved what Emma did with it, with the music and the sort of counter pointing the moment with the music. It was just so clever, and I'm delighted to hear that you got it and you liked it. I really am.
You don't want to hear it from me, but trust me, that this path you're on, it's not worth it.
Why would I ever trust you?
I think that we also shot either on our second to last day, I think we shot that last scene. So there was a lot of emotion, I think, in that moment as well. Just it was like coming to an end. And that scene felt really emotional. And funnily enough, like there was other scenes, like the motel scene didn't feel as heavy when the cameras cut. You know, it was such a light-hearted feel on set almost all the time, you know?
It's a beautiful film. It reminded me a lot of ways of Nomadland and those types of great, like gritty films. It's phenomenal. Thank you so much for your time, Ewan. You're the best.
Thanks, man. Thank you, Alex. Nice to speak to you.
You
Thanks,
too.
Alex.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Be honest, do you think I'm sexy?
Pass. Next question.
I wasn't prepared to like this movie or be impacted by it as much as I was. This is a pretty emotional film, and there's moments throughout that kind of run the gamut of, laughter, sadness, all of that kind of stuff. Your scene in particular, like, has the whole range of that.
Yeah.
How did you fit into this story? Like, how did you find how to play this character?
I think it's just a matter of of committing to your part of the journey. I think that it's important to just focus on who your character is and what you want and what your needs are, so that you kind of provide a space for the director to kind of mold your performance. And that way, I mean, if what I'm doing is too comical or needs to be brought back a bit, needs to be a little more grounded, I can, I can collaborate with the director on those particular things. So I think most importantly, I think sometimes you can get in trouble when you're trying to, you're trying to cater your performance to the needs of the film overall.
Mhm.
If your take on the movie is that it's this kind of sad, kind of somber journey, and your performance kind of reflects that, and you can get in trouble. Whereas, like, I think you just need to, trust in your character. Yeah, that's kind of like how I approached it.
Okay, look, I'm on parole right now, kinda, so
Well, we weren't even drinking.
A lot of times, there's two broad types of movies. You have the kind that feel incredibly produced, they're incredibly deliberate, the way that everything is kind of manicured and put in place. And then you have films like this that have more of an organic feel. They feel like we're actually watching people having conversations. There's a lot more of that natural aspect of it. And for your performance, how much of the dialogue and all of that was in the script versus kind of just came about during filming?
Um, I'd say there's you know, there's definitely a lot. Most of the dialogue was in place and written as is. I think there was like definitely room for, improvisation with like timing and like delivery. And I think we definitely played, me and Clara were able to kind of have fun and play around a bit in the space. And Emma, gave us that the opportunity to do so. So I think a lot of that comes from just being comfortable in your environment, and when you're on a set, and it's a set where everyone is in, the headspace to kind of like be able to trust each other. It just like, I think it just gives you, um, you know, it gives you the opportunity to play around in that space and not feel like you're, doing too much or stepping on someone else's toes or kind of overcommitting to something. It's just like that set in particular, it felt very collaborative because we all know each other and we were all friends, and we all have a lot of trust in each other, uh, and all revere each other in a very strong way. And yeah, I think that
And
helps.
yeah, and with the production like this, you've got Emma making her feature directorial debut. You've got Clara in a significant lead role here. Did it feel like you were working? They're not rookies. They've obviously been doing acting and directing and all this stuff in different capacities for a long time.
Yeah.
did it feel like you were in like a new production with new talent, or did this feel like other productions you've been on with more established folks?
I think we were all kind of, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speak for everybody else, but I think I was such a fly on the wall in the kind of like early conception of this project.
Mm-hmm.
I think to me, I was the most kind of, and I've been on so many different sets of so many different magnitudes, and I think for me, uh, I think I was the one that was almost like surprised the most by how much of a film set it seemed. Like I think I was so impressed, and I just couldn't believe to see, these people working so hard for so long to get to this point and then to see it actually happen. I don't think they had the time to kind of sit back and reflect on it in the moment and be like, oh my God, we're here. We have a crew. We have these all these people working towards this one goal, and it's like the lights and everything, it's all ready to go. They didn't have time to really reflect on that because they're just moving. It wasn't until the end where I think they were able to really kind of take a breath and appreciate everything that they've done. And I think I was the one that was able to kind of like nudge them and be like, look at this. This is happening. You're doing this. This is impressive. This is fucking awesome. So yeah, I think that's what happened.
Somebody order a stripper?
Can I get you anything?
I'll take a beer.
I've known guys like this. I've been friends with guys like this. I've been not friends with guys like this. Was this
Yeah, me
inspired
too.
by anybody that you have met in real life?
Um, yeah, I think I've played characters like this before, kind of wayward souls that are seeking connection and compatibility and just can't do it for the life of them, or just to kind of have trouble, or kind of out of luck. And I think I often revert to this kind of like free, like almost like adolescence, and like this like kind of naive version of myself at like a young age. I think I like tend to just like gravitate towards that and tap into that. And I think it often leads to this kind of quirky character that's like misunderstood. And yeah, I don't know. I don't try to like channel people that I know to. I think it's like this more of this kind of like this like yeah, reverting back to like this childhood version of myself. And I just think it makes it more fun. And yeah. Yeah.
Come on. Come on.
Your sequence there, which is absolutely awesome. I just want to know, how did that come about? Like, was that something that developed when you were filming? Was that always on the page? How did that come about?
Yeah, so when we wrote the film and developed the film, we just wanted to sort of see the whole cast as an ensemble and try and figure out what people do we need to see on this trip. We have this person, what do we need to sort of balance it out? Or so this character that I ended up playing, which wasn't necessarily the case from the jump. Like I said, when we were developing it, it wasn't so much a thing of like, oh, I that's going to be my character. That sort of grew and developed over time. But this character was one that we came up with fairly early on, and sort of is, if you've seen the movie like you have, it sort of is a defining moment for the father and daughter
Mm-hmm.
characters. So she had an important role for their journey, as do all the other ones. So her role and position in the film is all in service to the father and daughter characters. So, but yes, she was an early addition to the film, and as we kept on developing it and talking about it and trying to sort of zoom out and see this whole cast as an ensemble, I was like, I really like that one. I see myself if you'll let me, again, once again, I wanted the director's blessing, as much as everybody else that worked on the film's blessing. But as soon as that was sort of understood, I was very excited to get to play her. Yeah.
And was it an intentional decision to not give the characters really any names? Like we have names for some folks, we don't for others. Like how did you refer to these characters behind the scenes? Was it father and daughter, or were there names that you came up with for them?
Yeah, it was father and daughter. I kept calling father Fa. I don't know why, but that was sort of became the running name for his character. I don't know why we landed on that. We sort of, in the beginning when you're writing something, you might not know what their names are or something, so you just refer to them by, oh, the father says this, or the daughter, blah, blah, blah. But we sort of stuck with it, and yeah, we didn't want it to be too distracting because everyone knows that it's a real father and daughter playing the stuff. So why give them fake names? I don't know. And again, it's not a documentary. It's not like a real depiction of what their life is like or has been like at some point. It's just loosely based on, inspired by, etc. But we didn't want it to distract from the story in any way by giving them like funky stage screen names. Like it should just be them and not distract from anything. I think that was our thinking, yeah.
Live your life. There's something greater, something better.
And from the original concept, the original script, when it started to what we see in the finished product, how much did it change? Did it stay pretty close to the original vision, or did it transform?
It changed a lot. It changed a lot. I don't even remember really what the original script was like. I mean, again, like sort of the main line, the main storyline, and some of those main characters definitely all stayed put. But our director Emma and our script editor Elle Malin all had a lot of additions and a lot of changes. And as they were storyboarding the stuff together, and also with Chris Ripley, our cinematographer, a lot of stuff came out. So they were writing up until the moment that we shot the stuff and changing things around. So Emma actually did write a lot of scenes and change a lot of things around. So it's very collaborative, and we wanted Emma's voice to come through very strongly and have her take be reflected on it. As the director, it felt like an important voice to hear very clearly. So yeah, Emma's stamp is very firmly on the script as well.
And
Yeah.
there's obviously a title change from when it originally premiered to what it is now. How do you feel like about the change? Has it changed the perception of what the film's message is in any way?
It's not the first time that the titles changed. We had another title as a sort of a running title during the production of the shoot, and obviously for the many months, if not years, leading up to going into production, many months, I should say, we had a title. So it has changed a few times now. And so at this point, I'm just relieved and happy that the film is out. And I think both titles are wonderful. I think that Bleeding Love is probably a little easier to remember maybe than You Sing Loud, I Sing Louder. So in that sense, I think it makes good sense for it to have changed. But again, like the movie is as coming out now, and I'm just happy for that.
No, I'm good. You go ahead to your culty little group meeting.
I got this. I've driven those same roads. I've gone on some road trips and driven those same areas, and I got a real Nomadland vibe off of the film because it felt real. It felt very organic. Was that kind of a feel like there's some fanciful things, but were you really going for a more realistic, down to earth type of story?
Yes, definitely. The story is so intimate and between these two people, and it's really about these kind of, the nuances between them. So I didn't want the exterior to overtake that it always was part of, the emotional journey, and wouldn't be taking the attention away.
The dance in the headlights of the car, that was that scripted? Did that just kind of come out of nowhere? Like that's just a beautiful moment.
Yeah. No, it was definitely part of the narrative. Yeah, and we built it out in the visuals, of course, but it was part of the planning. Yeah.
And was the number of bathroom breaks incorporated into the story, was that
Yes.
always there as well? Yeah.
Yes, so that was very much like one of like the main things of the script as well, where just because Clara does have to use the bathroom a lot, so it's part of reality.
Nice. I think that there's something to be said about the blend of the realistic, and then there's just some of these more kind of dreamlike, ethereal moments that are out there. Bringing those together, was that something that you kind of knew up front directing this that you were going to do, or did that come together afterwards in post?
No, it was definitely part of also how we planned the cinematography, where I wanted to start it quite kind of stark and kind of, not the light quite harsh and not seeing too much of the horizons, because she's in this kind of loop of self-destruction, and kind of showing them in awkward spaces, kind of separate. And then as they come closer, that it becomes more warm and more colorful and also more magical, because I think part of stepping out of something that is so self-destructive, as in using different substances, is also kind of noticing the magic of the world and opening yourself up to being part of, the magic of reality in a way. It sounds really dumb, but
No, I get you.
because he says it, the character says it at some point too, realizing that you're part of something bigger, such a thing of AA, but it doesn't have to be, this, it doesn't have to be God per se, or it can
Yeah.
also just be like, really seeing the world and being part of that, instead of being part of this kind of interior destructive loop. Yeah.
There's a ton of road trip movies that have been made, and then there's a ton of movies about addiction. Did you look at anything for inspiration, or did you try and just make this its own thing?
I definitely looked at a lot of movies, road trip movies, and a lot of father-daughter movies, and also son-mother movies, like the Mommy from Xavier Dolan is such a. We watched that one. I watched it with Clara in prep, but also Tony Erdmann with which doesn't have necessarily not that much to do with our movie, but just kind of these really nuanced movies about father-daughter relationships. A movie that I immediately thought of when I read the script and rewatched, and is one of my favorite movies, is Paper Moon.
Yes.
Where it's obviously a father-daughter relationship, where it's also quite like who gets the upper hand, and also with a real father and daughter, and in a car. So that one was a reference. But definitely watched a lot of road trip movies too, because I feel like a car is quite a confined space, of course. So it's like trying to find different ways, interesting ways that we could film it, and we could, yeah. So.
And I think that the car itself is almost a character here, because it is just, it feels lived in. It doesn't feel like just something that was found and gussied up for the production. It looks like it was something that's been used, and so much of this film just feels authentic.
Yeah.
So when filming, was that filmed like an actual motel rooms that you found that you just filmed on location, or how did you pick those
No,
places?
and this was actually very much a game that I would, with the production designer Stefanik, and I would we would, because I really love, I call it the absurdity of reality, or like the magic of reality, right? That you come to, and I really like to kind of condense these kind of things into one. So we made like this, the motel where we filmed it was actually 3 different places, and she painted everything, she made everything. But then when we would come there, like you would sometimes be like, oh, was this already here? And then we'd be like, yes, we did it right. When it's like you couldn't tell if it was styling or if it was already there, but everything was crafted in a way that you can't tell.
Nice.
Yeah.
The most obviously, like, the big thing that everybody talks about with this film is, that it's Ewan and Clara, and that it's a father and daughter making this story together. And it just, I've seen movies where people that know each other in real life act together, but there's just a totally different feel here. What was it like collaborating with the two of them on screen? Was it challenging, or did it feel really natural?
No, it was really natural. And, this was obviously something that going into the project, I didn't know how it was going to be, because you never know. Obviously, there are, Ewan McGregor is Ewan McGregor, the iconic actor that is great in every movie. And Clara, I'd seen her in things before too, and I really liked her, but you never know, yeah, how that is going to be together, of course. And they were incredible. They were so open. They were so yeah, really, seeing them together was really beautiful. Like they really played on each other, like, in how they would, and he would give her sometimes, a compliment on how she did a scene, and it was really just beautiful to watch and to witness. And they were great. And both of them are so incredibly talented, and just a pleasure to work with. So I was very lucky. I felt
Awesome.
very lucky. I was like, I can't believe I'm making a movie with
Yeah,
McGregor.
and it's phenomenal. It's a beautiful film. I loved it so much. Thank you so much for
Thank
talking
you.
to me today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed the movie.
Yes, it's great. I love
I'm
it.
really nervous for it coming out. So I'm happy when I hear that people like
Oh,
it.
you have nothing to worry about. It's going to do great. Thank you so much.